Hi, I'm Susan, and welcome back to Tasty Cakes, where we make American baked goods one recipe at a time. First of all, I want to apologize for the background noise. I am in the Tasty Cakes commercial kitchen right now, so you hear my refrigerator's hard at work. And I had to get some coffee first thing because this is quite the recipe. We are doing a seasonal strawberry shortcake today. The base of it are three sponge cake layers, so I'm getting my pans ready right now. I actually grew up with my mom making strawberry shortcake with sweet biscuits, so this is very different for me. This recipe calls for a simple syrup with vanilla to be put on the sponge cake layers before they are built. So that is currently on the stove first, getting the sugar dissolved, get everything boiling while I pull all of the dry ingredients together. Sponge cake is so delicate that I have to be very careful with the measuring as well. I'm going to go ahead and sift everything as much as I can because you do not want any lumps of any dry ingredients at all when you fold that into the egg white mixture. Or excuse me, it's a full egg mixture. So I just did a quick check. It looks like the syrup is ready. I'm going to put some lovely vanilla beans in there for a great flavor. And I just like the way the look of the vanilla beans are, the little black spotted things. Okay, so syrup's ready. Dry ingredients are ready. I'm now getting the sugar and the eggs ready. And the City Tavern recipe calls for me to heat up the egg and sugar mixture on a double boiler first to get the sugar dissolved before it goes onto the stand mixer to beat into the soft meringue. So I think it called for about 6 eggs. It seemed like a very high egg ratio, but I went with it. Um, Constantly stirring it while it's on the double boiler because you don't want those eggs to cook before they get into the mixture, of course. So they're ready to go. Getting those into the stand mixer bowl, and I'm just going to put that on high to get it going as quickly as possible because I want to get these sponge cakes in the oven. I had to constantly go back and forth checking the recipe to see what I was looking for. Looking for the bowl to cool down, fluffy peaks, although it's taken forever. So I felt like I waited around so long, checked it, it's still not quite ready. Ultimately, we're looking for that thin ribbon of a meringue. So I feel like it's done now. And now I'm taking a little bit of that out and mixing it in with some melted butter. That's going to get whisked together and set aside. It's always good when you're working with two different viscosities of liquid to add a little bit of both together first before putting it back into the main mix, because that's just going to help everything come together more evenly. So I carefully folded all the dry ingredients together, and now I'm carefully folding in that buttered egg mixture because we don't want to lose any of that air. Now, the recipe called for a much larger quantity, and I didn't want to make a massive strawberry shortcake. Plus, the pans I had were not quite the same size. So I had to do a boatload of head math here to figure out how much batter I was going to put on each jelly roll pan. So I'm weighing the batter, taking some out, spreading it out. And at this point, I can tell there is just not a lot of batter in there. It's going to be hardly anything at all. I decide in the end to do 2/3 of the batter in one pan. And then in the other pan, I decided to do 1/3, but only make it half the pan. So I had to do a little bit of switching around. And you'll see here what I ended up doing on that half jelly roll pan. I just scooted it all to one end, folded up the baking paper, and then grabbed another pan out of the closet or out of the cupboard to keep that baking paper vertical. So the batter, oh yeah, and I saw a little bunch of dry ingredient there that I wanted to mix in. So I'm going to put that pan there so that the batter doesn't kind of melt back and it stays put. Into the oven that goes, both of them, for about, I believe it was 15 to 20 minutes. The recipe says they needed to go in there to the golden brown. So of course I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to clean up everything. That mixing bowl I'm also going to use then to whip up the whipped cream. So that goes straight into the to the refrigerator because it's going to whip a lot easier when it's cold. I was not quite sure these were done because they didn't really grow at all. They got you can see a little bit golden brown, but not really golden brown. But they looked done, they felt done. So I'm trying to figure out now how many strawberries I'm going to need because I have way more strawberries than I'm going to have to put in this strawberry shortcake. So taking the best ones out, obviously the more red they are, the more flavorful they are. No sense in using lightly colored strawberries. Prepping those while the whipped cream bowl is cooling, while the sponge cakes are cooling. And then I'm just going to prep my area because there's a lot of different parts to this that I need at the same time. So here we have the super thin, super fragile sponge cake that I'm trying to get out in one piece without breaking. And I ultimately decide to just take the scissors and cut it up the middle to get 3 equal parts. The syrup, the vanilla syrup goes on. And once those are all ready to go, the strawberries are ready to go, the last thing I'm going to do is whip up the whipped cream. So that goes into the cold bowl with the cold whisk attachment, a little bit more vanilla beans to get more flavor in there. As that's going, I'm going to get that first layer ready to go. That goes down first on the cake board and then get everything else set up. It was so sticky that it ended up sticking to my fingers, and it took a lot of careful work to get the baking paper off as well. I clearly did not put enough butter on that, but you know what? The whipped cream tastes good, so that's all that matters. Okay, here we are layering it on. First thing is the strawberry preserves, and then we have fresh strawberries, and then we have some whipped cream that I just put in between all the strawberries. Next, sponge layer, and I just did that another time. But had to do some gymnastics first, one side and then the other, to get that paper off. It just was so sticky. And in the end, I still had to do a little bit of triage here to pull that back together. And then more preserves went on to kind of use it as glue, more strawberries, of course, more whipped cream, my favorite part. On top of the last layer, it only went whipped cream. No preserves, no strawberries. We put extra strawberries on top. And I used halves. I'm not the best with making things on top looking super pretty, but I did what I could. Filled it up with strawberries. You can't go wrong with more strawberries. And that was that. You can see the layers aren't super straight, but it is what it is. Add a little bit of powdered sugar on top. Always makes it look nicer. And everybody who tried it said it tasted great. So here's our City Tavern Baking and Desserts Cookbook Strawberry Shortcake. Thank you so much for stopping by. I look forward to seeing you at the next recipe, and I really hope that you choose to like and subscribe for more videos. But here are some behind the scenes of me doing multitude of multitasking, whisking and measuring at the same time, and all of the facial expressions that I make while doing my mental math. I never knew how many facial expressions I used while I bake.